All right, guys, welcome. We are now in, I believe it's week 7 of the 90-day game plan. It's crazy how fast time flies when you're having fun. And this is a topic tonight that I know a lot of people have been waiting for. And it's one that it's like you never have it handled, right? So we're talking, of course, about objections. Now, I'm not such a big fan of the word objections. I mean, I think that just immediately puts a negative context onto something that really is not necessarily negative. When people are asking you questions about isogenics, and maybe it comes across as an objection to you, all they're doing is they're really asking you for more information about what you've been sharing. So the first thing to remember is don't lose your cool. Don't get flustered. There's nothing at all wrong with people asking questions. They really are just requesting more information. Now, with that being said, it's also important to remember, and this is something you'll hear a lot of us touch on tonight as we go through some of the most common objections. Sometimes people are truly requesting more information because they're interested. They're trying to work it out for themselves and get their questions answered so that they can get started. Sometimes they're just stalling. They're just wasting your time because they're not ever really going to get started, regardless of how many links you send them, how many questions you answer. And I know we'll address that tonight, just kind of how to handle it when you get the sense that, okay, this person isn't really that serious. They're asking me to send them information on the specific source of the Shilajit from whatever far corner of the earth that's even made in, right? That's not something I necessarily entertain. The other thing about just objections, questions in general, is it does not matter as much what you say as your belief and the posture that you're delivering it from. So as we get into questions about how do you handle when someone says it's expensive? How do you handle when someone asks you, is this network marketing? Your posture speaks louder than the words that you actually say. So I noticed in the beginning, and I want to share this because it's not as though I woke up and just was really, really great at handling objections. I probably still have things to learn and can always get better. But in the beginning, I definitely noticed I attracted questions or objections, if you want to call them that, in areas where my belief needed some work. Initially, I needed some work around my belief around the value of what I was offering. So you better believe I had more people with cost objections. I had trouble. I didn't quite understand or have the belief around why was I asking for the Social Security number. So I got pushback on the Social Security number. So just know, and this is something, when you realize that there's been a common theme, you're getting a lot of questions along the same line of thought, it's somewhere to maybe go to work with your coach and just say, hey, I notice I'm getting a lot of cost objections. Work with me on this. Let's just see, where is there a breakthrough for me to have? So with that, we're just going to dive right in with the Big Daddy, because when I asked for some feedback on the Facebook group, almost everyone who responded said cost, right? Handling the cost objection. And there's so many different flavors of it, right? Everything from this is expensive to just even asking the question, like, how much does this cost? Wow, that's a lot, right? Any flavor of it. And I know, Brad, this is one that you really wanted to take on and share some insights on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Now, I love this topic because for me, it was something that I struggled with. And if you haven't struggled with this, you're probably not breathing, because we all struggle with this at first. But I'm just going to talk about a few really key points as I really hope are going to just make this so much easier for you to deal with. First of all, when I have somebody push back and say, wow, that's like really expensive, I have that because I probably have not painted the value, the picture of the value. So if they don't understand what they're getting and how much it's going to transform their life, and if it's not, if I haven't identified their why and asked them the right questions, where I can say, you know, how much is that worth to you? How much is that extra energy? Or how much extra is it, what is it worth for you to have more time with your kids and be a present, active parent? If I'm not asking those questions, I'm kind of doing them a disservice, and I'm inviting that pushback of it's too expensive. The second thing I always focus on is I always have to give it some sort of price comparison. So if you are leading with a 30-day system, you're probably going to get a few people who are like, wow, that's pretty expensive. But if you suddenly start, the President's Pack is one of the best packages ever. It has this, this, this. You paint the value of that and you say this, it's about $20 per day. But the 30-day system is really, really great. And I started off with that. And the 30 days is half the cost of that President's Pack. Mentally, they're thinking to themselves, typically, wow, that's actually a lot better cost. I can really afford that. Versus when you start off with the 30-day system, some people will try to be like, pick apart some of those other products. So I always say, ask the right questions, because you have to be able to really help them identify the value of this and what it's going to do for them in their lives, so that they're really able to see how much, they're willing to spend.
I was going to say, also identify what they're already spending. Are they, eating a healthy breakfast? How much does that cost to them? Are they going to Starbucks a couple times there, pays for their 30-day or even President's Pack? So identify what they're already spending that would be replacing those meals with the shakes.
There's an incredible paper that we'll find it, we'll post it into the group. It's just overcoming objections with Chris Harder. And one of the things he talks about is he asks a couple of simple questions like, what do you currently spend between breakfast and lunch? Typically, people aren't even thinking about how much they're actually throwing out. They're making it rain at Starbucks. I mean, a single latte, let's face it, that's $5, right? A minimum. And if they're doing anything for breakfast, just breakfast alone between the coffee and breakfast is typically going to cover the same cost of breakfast and lunch in Isogenics. Plus, it's going to help them hit their goals. So identify what they're spending, because once they identify that, they're going to start really realizing this is not expensive. I'm spending more than this, and this is going to help me save money. Are you guys all down for that? Is that pretty good? Anybody else? I know a couple of the leaders like this objection as well. Feel free to step out and share something maybe on your heart.
So one of the things, oftentimes one of the things you get is the first question is, what does it cost? And, have you guys ever had that, you're just talking, oh yeah, this is amazing. They're like, first thing, what does it cost? And the key is you don't, until you paint the value, you can't give them a cost. You can't say, the 30-day is this or the President's Pack is this. So I really what I say is there's a lot of different systems based on your goals you'd like to do. So let's talk about your goals and really find out, if you were going to do this, why would you do it? They're looking for weight loss. They're looking for more energy, and say, okay, so we have a couple systems, the 30-day is great. It's going to give you all the basics, $10 a day. The pace setter is going to give you everything else plus the snacks, $15 a day. But you have to get to why they would want to do this first, and say this could really help you. We could really get you to those goals. If they see the value, they're going to find the money. When I started with this, I had no money, none, zero, negative. I've had people who've had nothing in the bank, and they go and they sell things on Craigslist to pay for their system. You gotta paint the value first, and then cost is just, it's not an objection. It's just something they maybe need to overcome. They need to, it's an obstacle that they have to get through, but it's no longer an objection if you do a good job painting the picture of why they would do this. So a good question is, if you were going to do this, why would you do this? And, then really get to that.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. Both of you did. And, first and foremost, make sure that you've done your due diligence, asking great questions and having them. I was just sharing on another call. I wait until I can sense that they're going from logically evaluating it to an emotional response. Yeah, the ticker, just like Brad's pointing to. The other thing, guys, is we have a compensation plan. don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm actually so glad you mentioned that cost, is an issue. If this is something you really want to do, then honestly, what we should be talking about is their amazingly generous compensation plan. Who do you think might want to do this with you? I mean, be bold, right? Especially if someone is at a point where they desperately need this for their health, they're willing to do what it takes to make it happen. We can absolutely show them how to get it paid for. So don't be afraid to say that too. And in some cases, when someone, this isn't maybe another version of it that I've heard, where someone will say, well, can I just do the cleanse? Or can I just do a piece of it? I'll say, you know what? I would really be doing you a disservice if I set you up with less than the full experience. So why don't we just wait? Now you know how much, it's the initial investment is going to be. Let's just wait until you're ready to jump in and do the full thing as designed. And I've had people say at that point, okay, let's do it. They really want to. They just have to go through their own process. And I have some who've never come back. And I would much rather pass on, selling just one bottle of Cleanse or one bottle of Ionics to someone who's, I know that's not going to give them the full results. And it's probably going to end up taking more time and energy than I'm really willing to spend. So hopefully that helps. If you've got other questions or yeah buts or well then what if you hear that, we'll take all of those at the end, or you can send them through the chat feature. You can type a little message to us and we'll address those. So let's move on. The second most common question everyone submitted was, well, how does Isagenix compare to fill in the blank? And we're talking, first of all, specifically on the product side. You might have people say, well, so how is this like Herbalife, or how is this like Advocare, or fill in the blank, right? So my stance on this is I never want to get into a bidding war or my shake versus your shake. That never looks good. Becoming defensive never ever makes us look great. And again, if you think about it, other companies really do believe their product is superior. So they probably have some chart out on the internet somewhere that says the Isagenix shake has too much sugar. I've seen all this stuff. It's not true, right? But other companies can produce pretty marketing materials that make their shakes look superior. So it never works out in our favor to be like, well, actually, let me tell you my laundry list of why. Here's what I say. So if someone says to me, well, Lindsay, how's this like Advocare? I'd say, you know what? I've never actually used that program. I know there's a lot of other great things, great companies out there, but why I love Isagenix is, and then I'll share my story. I was looking for something that was truly all natural. And for me, this is the only one that I found that really lined up with that. And here's what it did for me. All I know is how I feel. And I know, that it's worked for, and this is something I can say with confidence, and you can too. I'm part of a Facebook group with, a couple thousand other people who seem to think it's pretty great too. So yeah, right? And that's all we really have to share. So as much as you can, especially as you gain more experience, maybe you do know, I know, Brad, you've used other programs before. One of the hardest things is not go, because we want to go toe to toe and we want to just show them. But I find that the best thing to say is, hey, I don't know, I've never used that program. Or, even if you have, say, well, I've used some other things, but here, let me tell you why I love this. And then if they continue to ask, I'll be like, you know what, you might actually like to check out this website called isagenixhealth.net. There's a ton of info there that you can research to your heart's content, straight from doctors. Why don't I send you there? And this goes for, and I'm just going to really plug this here and ask you all to be my accountability partners. This also goes for if someone posts a question like that in the Facebook group. Now, again, if they're just genuinely asking for their own knowledge, hey, how is this different? Please try not to jump in there and be like, well, those other products are this or that. In general, I would say you guys, we do a phenomenal job answering questions like that, but just be mindful, highlight what you love about Isagenix. Don't get into a toe-to-toe little tug of war. Anything else you guys want to chime in on that? Or should we move on to the next one? Brad, yes?
Just really quickly, because I do have experience with other competing companies. This is incredibly hard for me because we do have the best out there. And I believe that not because of what my company says, because I've done my own research. And like Lindsay said, you never want to compare your perspective. But I think it is okay to just say, hey, just look at the ingredients. Find out really what works for you. This is what I love about this. This is what I love about what I'm doing. And, and you can just simply leave it at that. Because if you can give them just a little bit, let it kind of almost become their idea to look at artificial sweeteners and soy and gluten. We don't have that stuff. We don't have to deal with it. So you can do that in a way that is not going to be comparing. It's just saying, this is what I'm very passionate about, and this is why. So that was my only.
Yep, so brilliantly said. Okay, so let's move on to some objections that you might get when looking now more at the business side. Now, this could even come up when, say, you've got a product user who's having great results and you bring up, hey, have you ever thought about sharing this? Sometimes these objections come right from within our own team, or questions, what have you. Sometimes it'll be from people that are not yet enrolled. The first one that I've heard, I know myself, I've heard from people is, I don't want to sell, or I'm not a salesperson, something in that realm. So Eva, what do you say when you hear that?
What I say is, honestly, I'm not a salesperson either. I don't like sales. What I do love is sharing something that I know works with other people. Really as simple as that. I can go into it further, but I tell people it's about paying it forward. It's about paying forward something that has completely changed my life. It will change other people's life. And coming from there, because when I come from, this is a sales position. Nothing ever happens. Have you guys experienced that? Like, for some reason your brain goes to sales and then nobody wants to sign up because nobody wants to be sold. So it's really about connecting and encouraging people to just pay forward what they have experienced. Like, all of a sudden they're having energy, or they've lost 10 pounds, and really connect with them. Who do they know that is complaining about not having energy, who's complaining about not being able to sleep? And just offering a solution because you have one. And it's awesome to have a solution, right? Say, I can help you. I'm so excited to be able to help you. So really coming from the place of, awesome. I don't like to sell either. I just like to help people. And oftentimes that brings the guard down, and that'll just help people connect to the really human side of all of this.
That's so good. Yeah, and it depends on their experience too. If this is someone who's been on the products and has experienced results, depending on my relationship with them, sometimes I'll be really straightforward and I'll say, that is fine, and you absolutely don't ever have to, proactively share this, but please tell me that if someone comes to you and they want to know what you're doing, please connect them with me, because we have a responsibility. We know this works and it changes lives. Think if no one had ever shared it with you. And I just get real with them, because I really do believe it is my responsibility to share this with people who I see have a need. So sometimes that, that can just help them see it bigger than them. It's not about us. It's about sharing. It's a social responsibility. And then the other, and again, none of these are tactics, but again, if you're attracting that objection, maybe there's some work to do for yourself around, do you feel like you're selling? Or are you really freaking proud to be part of the network marketing profession? Do you realize how much, you guys, I didn't plan this, but this was perfect. Do you realize how much we all do network marketing? I posted a photo today because my lashes are looking super amazing. I got them done today. Do you know how many people I just referred to my lash lady? And I am glad to, because that is something I believe in and I love her work. I mean, it's all word of mouth. All companies are turning toward word of mouth advertising because they know that it's the most effective. So again, if it's true, just look within. If it's truly something internal, maybe you're feeling out of alignment with the feelings like you're selling, connect with a leader and just like really work through some of that, because again, I think our posture, our belief is what we tend to attract. Cool. All right, so moving on to the kind of the last one, and again, this one has its own, it has a lot of different flavors, versions to it, and then we'll open it up for, we can stay on for a few more minutes and answer questions. But the other objection that can tend to happen is just around network marketing, misconceptions around network marketing. So that could be someone saying, hey, is this one of those pyramid scams? Or is this like Arbonne? Is this like Amway? But they're asking more about the business structure. So, Mr. Aaron Freeman, when you get one of those versions of, the question, how do you reply to that?
Yeah, so when someone says, is this network marketing? I say, it sure is. Are you as big of a fan of it as I am? So that's one of the things to say, right? And to the question that also Lindsay just asked too, they say, is this like such and such, and just ask them, oh, it is network marketing. Is that what you meant? And they might be talking about a product specific thing, but to bring them back to, oh, you're talking about the business structure. Another one that I've heard is this one of those pyramid things? Say, no, absolutely network marketing, and I love it. Or something else around, someone says, is this network marketing? Say, yeah, it is. Do you know very much about it? And really you just want to start to open up, and because don't add anything on top of, like, they may be asking, is this network marketing? Because they heard something about it, but they really might not know. So we really don't want to add anything on top of like, oh no, they asked the question. Here we go. So really this is a discussion for you, really like sharing how great it is. Like, yeah, how awesome is it that you can work something part-time, something that contributes to people's lives, and I can earn an income on it too. Or, isn't it great how you can share a gift, change people's lives, and making that kind of difference? So all those type of things, but again, just bringing it back, well, so what do you know about it? Or they say, is this network marketing? Well, I don't know. What is network marketing to you? And they may say something about, oh, well, I heard about a company that you had to pay $1,000 to the person above you, and then you had to go to this or that. I mean, it really is just, one, share the experience, how it's been for yourself, something around, I get to do this part-time, I get to work with a great team, I get to make a difference in someone's life, it doesn't require a degree, I get to build my own dream, not somebody else's. All of that, just share that and say, oh, what have you heard about network marketing? What is network marketing to you? So really share something, and then you really just want to find out what well, they may just be really defensive about it, and you want to just get to that, because if you try to talk on top of it, it's not going to make a difference anyway. So it's about finding out what that really means for them.
Input for that. Can I add something, if you guys don't mind? I just have to point out, beyond Aaron's words, what did you guys notice? His stature, right? He is 10 foot tall, bulletproof when it comes to this, because he believes in it. He's a product of the product. I mean, when somebody has a hesitation with it, you have to just stand there in confidence, knowing what you're doing is phenomenal. And it's better than anything that they're probably doing. If they have hesitations about it, they're probably working for a company, right? Well, what kind of structure is a company? You got like the president, CEO, you have the board of directors, you have the man. It's like this, the church, the school, it's all on a pyramid base. So, the fact is we have nothing to be ashamed of. And I love it. But Aaron, I think you hit it right on the nose, just with your belief says way more than any kind of words, and just ask questions. Get down to the root of why they have hesitations. Most people have heard of somebody, or maybe they know somebody who has been hurt from a company in the past. Ask questions, get to know really what that is and why they have that feeling. And typically a lot of people just don't know. They just have this concept of it's one of those things, but they don't know actually what they're talking about. So if you can help them identify, maybe they don't actually know everything, and ask them if they're open to learn. Let them be skeptical. Skeptical is great, guys. But just, ask them if they can be open-minded and skeptical at the same time.
Yeah, and the other thing is, and if you are not totally flat on this for yourself, I think, again, where posture comes from is the more you learn and educate yourself. There's some phenomenal resources. In fact, in our business group, if you go under the Files tab, there's one created called Resources to Build Your Belief around all these different areas. So tons of different videos. But get really clear for yourself on the possibility of residual income. I think that's where, beyond the business structure, I love to talk to people about, well, hey, do you really understand residual income? Like, asking thought-provoking questions like that has them be like, well, no. Like, you kind of see them squirm. And my point isn't to make them feel bad, but just to be like, well, think about it. Like, why wouldn't we create residual income? Even though my husband and I both have been in really stable jobs, a whole division of his company got laid off. And when I was working in corporate America, I watched people get laid off left and right. So we decided to create our own economy. So we're doing this on the side and really building up a residual income for ourselves that's going to keep growing over time, right? So just sharing with people almost like, oh, you never thought of that? And this is something I've shared with a lot of the girls on my team, especially, like, I'm looking at all of your faces, right? Like Liz, who works in corporate America for a hospital, like very, very educated professional. Whitney, a lawyer, right? So especially when you're brand new, I think sometimes it can be easy to have other people like have us feel small. But my goal is to have all of you walking so tall that your posture actually has other people going, well, wait a minute. So, well, if Whitney's doing network marketing, maybe I need to educate myself about this, right? Like, think about it. If whoever you are, and I'm looking at all of your faces, you all have these amazing, phenomenal backgrounds. The fact that you are taking network marketing seriously, that speaks volumes. Let that speak louder, even if people don't get it. That should make them question their belief, not the other way around. It's all about who maintains certainty for the longest period of time. Because we're not going anywhere, so they can take their sweet time to come around, right? Well, I want to just give it over to, Aaron, and then Lisa and Eva, just see if everyone has just some final thoughts. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, something I just thought of too, when I I haven't heard of network marketing. What is it? And I'm like, oh man. And I thought of the whole compensation plan. I was like, well, so there's somebody at the top, and then, so I just talked in circles, right? So I tried to explain like the compensation plan or the structure, but what made it a lot easier is to say something like this. Well, so iPhones, how everyone loves iPhones and they tell their friends about it? Wouldn't it be awesome if Apple sent you a check for your friend getting an iPhone? And they'd be like, yeah, that'd be cool. Well, they're not a network marketing company, but that's what network marketing is, sharing something that you like with your friends, and instead of big billboards and advertisement, that company relies on just you telling your friends about something that's great. And I even probably said that a little bit longer than I needed to, but use a simple example. Remember when iPhone sent you telling your friend about the iPhone? Oh, that's right, they didn't. Network marketing actually rewards people for sharing a gift with their friends. Isn't that cool?
Awesome.
So, honestly, I always, when somebody asks me about network marketing, I always want to find out what they think, because sometimes they're like, is this network marketing? And they think it's the greatest thing in the world. Or, so I always ask, I always say, yes, it is. Do you know much about network marketing? Do you have any experience with it? I need to find out where they're coming from. And if they're like, well, like one of those pyramid schemes, and, we have a garage full of products, then I'm just like, now has changed so much since social media. And now it's very, very different than it was, say, 10, 20 years ago. And for me, and I just go right into why I love it. For me, when I saw that I could earn a truly unlimited income with no capital investment, no overhead, and no risk, and once it was built, it would continue to pay me for the rest of my life, I thought, what's the catch here? Huge upside, no downside. And I just jumped in because, where else could you find that? Where else could I earn the kind of income that I can earn through this at home with my kids in my yoga pants? So it's all about posture, getting really clear on what I love this and sharing that with others.
Yeah, Aaron and Lisa, they hit it on the head. And just to be excited about it, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, just being excited about what we're up to as a team and offering that to people. And just coming from a space of contribution and that we have something to offer, and that network marketing is just an incredible vehicle that you can take advantage of in the pockets of your time, that you can be a busy professional and that you can still create something awesome on the side. And being proud, like we said, being proud of it, and that's what it's all about.
Amen to that. So I know not everyone may be able to stay, but I can stay for a few extra minutes if there are questions. We can open it up to see if we didn't cover your specific objection. Anyone have something you want to share? I know Lisa, Eva have to hop off, but I can stay. Or do we do just an amazing job answering all of your questions? Very thorough. You know what we didn't quite touch on, and Aaron, I know you had mentioned before we wanted to make sure to do this. We were saying how, sometimes there's people who are asking questions because they really want more information and they really are serious about evaluating it. And then there's the time wasters. We love them, but they're wasting our time. Susan Sly gave a great technology to really watch out for. If you notice that someone is asking how questions, how can I make this work within my budget? How can I, how questions those people tend to be a little bit more serious than people asking why questions, right? Why does Isagenix use ashwagandha in the ionics? Why do they use this, that, and the other thing? And it's okay to, and again, you may not have those answers. You can say, hey, look, I am committed to get that answer for you. And when I do, are you going to be ready to get started? Do you have enough information to get started? And just nip it in the bud, because, again, we want to treat this like a business. Your posture is, this is your business. And although we want to help everyone, it doesn't do them or you any good to do the runaround and have them inevitably, not end up ordering anyhow. You guys want to chime in on that?
I think there's a lot of people who they just want to be argumentative. And I will often, ask them like, hey, you seem a little bit skeptical. Are you open-minded skeptic or are you a closed-minded skeptic? If they're closed-minded, then I say, okay, well, that's great. I'm not really I don't want to waste your time. And I really appreciate, that, you gave me the time to just, open up the conversation. But, I don't think this is for you. And I'll do the pull away. I'll take it away from them because they're not worth the time if they're not at least open to learn more. And oftentimes, I'll also ask, hey, are you open to learning a little bit? Are you open to taking a look at something different? And, I don't know. It's really hard because a lot of people just want to argue and waste time. And we have way more people. Think of how much energy and time it takes for one person who drags you down versus finding 5 people who are there running with you. Don't waste your time on the time wasters, guys. I can't even say it enough. Stand strong in who you are. Have respect for yourself and have respect for them to say, hey, this is definitely not for you, but that's okay. Move on and smile and wave and wish them the best.
That's so good. And Brad, it made me think of too, some people will, if they ask why, they're going to keep on asking why. So they might want to just see how far they can take you. But when you say, that's great, it's such a good question, and I can get that answered for you. And if I get that answer for you, do you really want to hear more? So they know you're not going any further. Like, oh, this guy's a little bit different. I guess he's not going to just let me go, oh, this is a professional dude right here. Like, oh, okay, he's serious about what he's talking about, and not like in a mean way or whatever, but like you are controlling the conversation. Like, you're not going to let them dictate, the conversation and about your company, your business. So Brad, I like that.
Yep, absolutely. So was this helpful tonight, guys? Does this give you some more posture now going into your week and sharing the gift with more people? Yay! And just remember, especially this group right here, we're playing a big game. We're out to take on this 90-day game plan, and the more people you're sharing with, the more objections you're going to run into. It's just a sheer numbers game. So don't be discouraged at all. Like I said, if you notice you're running up against similar objections, there's a theme, get into communication. Let's do some coaching around it, because we believe in each and every one of you. You can totally do this. And a lot of this comes with practice and with time. Yeah, Erin just said it so perfectly. Practice equals being a professional. All right, we love you guys. Have a fantastic week, and we will see you back here. Actually, we will not see you back here next Monday. Just a reminder, it is July 4th. We want you to celebrate with your family and friends, but we'll make sure to include lots of great content in the Facebook group, and make sure to check in there throughout the week. All right, bye guys.
See you guys.
See ya.